hidden in a spice jar that most people walk right past at the supermarket, is one of the most potent natural anti-inflammatory substances ever studied by science. That substance is dried ginger, and the difference between eating fresh ginger and dried ginger is not a matter of convenience. It is a matter of molecular transformation that amplifies anti-inflammatory power by a factor that has genuinely shocked researchers. For over 5,000 years, traditional medicine systems across Asia used ginger in its dried form for therapeutic purposes. Korean traditional medicine, Chinese herbalism, and Indian Ayurveda almost universally specified dried ginger, called jeongong in Korean, for medicinal applications, rather than the fresh root used in cooking. For millennia, practitioners observed that the dried form was simply more powerful. Modern molecular science has now confirmed exactly why, and the mechanism is far more remarkable than anyone imagined. Fresh ginger's primary bioactive compounds are gingerols, specifically 6-gingerol, 8-gingerol, and 10-gingerol. These compounds are responsible for ginger's characteristic sharp, spicy bite and carry genuine anti-inflammatory and antioxidant activity. However, when ginger is dried or heated, a chemical transformation called dehydration occurs. Gingerols lose a water molecule from their structure and convert into a completely different class of compounds called shoguls. The resulting 6-shogul, 8-shogul, and 10-shogul possess a chemical structure, specifically an alpha-beta unsaturated carbonyl group that is absent in gingerols, and that gives shoguls dramatically greater biological potency. Food chemistry research has quantified this transformation. Drying fresh ginger in a hot air dryer at 150 degrees Celsius significantly increases shogul content, while extended heat treatment at the same temperature reduces gingerol content by up to 89.5% as conversion to shogul proceeds. A Korean patent on shogul-enriched ginger extract confirmed that drying methods including sunlight, drying and dry oven treatment reliably raise the combined 6, 8, and 10 shogul content to levels exceeding the original gingerol content by over 20%. A widely cited study on heat-induced conversion showed that moist heat at 120 degrees Celsius for extended periods produced the highest shogul yield, reaching approximately 2,991 milligrams of 6-shogul per kilogram of ginger. When researchers directly compared 6-shogul, 6-gingerol, and even curcumin for anti-inflammatory power at equivalent concentrations, 1 and 2.5 micromoles 6-shogul consistently outperformed 6-gingerol. The mechanism operates through multiple simultaneous pathways. 6-shogul directly suppresses activation of NF-kappa B, the master transcription factor that orchestrates the release of inflammatory cytokines, including IL-1 beta, IL-6, and TNF-alpha. It inhibits the expression of COX-2 and INOS, the same enzyme targets addressed by common non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs. It suppresses prostaglandin E2 production, interrupting both pain signaling and the fever cascade. In short, shogul attacks the inflammation network at its source, rather than simply blocking a single downstream signal. Clinical evidence in humans supports these molecular findings. A meta-analysis of randomized controlled trials on ginger supplementation found a significant reduction in serum CRPC reactive protein, the most widely used blood marker of systemic inflammation, following consistent ginger intake. In a 12-week clinical trial involving type 2 diabetes patients, 2 grams per day of ginger powder produced significant reductions in fasting blood glucose and HbA1c. In an osteoarthritis study, patients who received ginger supplementation showed significantly reduced hip osteoarthritis severity scores by day 30, while the placebo group required 58 additional days to reach a comparable level of improvement. These findings represent genuine clinical-grade evidence that dried ginger's anti-inflammatory action translates from the laboratory into measurable human health outcomes. The brain protective dimension of dried ginger's shogul content is particularly compelling. Research has shown that 6-shogul crosses the blood-brain barrier and exerts direct neuroprotective effects. In a Parkinson's disease model, 6-Shogal protected dopaminergic neurons against neuroinflammatory damage. In a traumatic brain injury model, increasing doses of 6-Shogal produced proportionally increasing levels of BDNF, the brain-derived neurotrophic factor, essential for neuron survival and regeneration. A 2025 molecular study published in an international pharmacology journal comprehensively mapped the mechanisms by which 6-Shogals, NF-kappa B modulation and antioxidant activity, protect against neurodegeneration in Alzheimer's and related conditions. Dried ginger is not merely a digestive aid, it is a neuroprotective food. The gut connection adds another dimension. Research published in 2024 demonstrated that ginger constituents selectively promote beneficial gut bacteria while suppressing pathogenic strains, and that ginger extract blocks the LPSTLR4 pathway, the signaling cascade, through which bacterial toxins leaking from a compromised gut wall trigger systemic inflammation throughout the body. Since gut-derived chronic inflammation is now understood to be a root mechanism linking obesity, fatty liver disease, diabetes, and cardiovascular disease, dried ginger's ability to protect gut barrier integrity makes it uniquely valuable as a whole-body anti-inflammatory agent. 3 practical recipes bring this science to your kitchen immediately. The first is an anti-inflammatory dried ginger turmeric honey tea simmer. 3 to 5 pieces of dried ginger, or half a teaspoon of ginger powder, in 250 milliliters of water for 10 minutes. Add a 1/4 teaspoon of turmeric powder and a pinch of black pepper. Allow to cool below 60 degrees Celsius. Before stirring in 1 teaspoon of raw honey and a squeeze of lemon juice. The black pepper piperine increases curcumin absorption by over 2000%, while the ginger fat content enhances curcumin's bioavailability further. Drink this on an empty stomach each morning. The second is a dried ginger and date slow-simmered tonic. Combine 10 to 15 dried ginger slices, 10 scored jujube dates, and 1 cinnamon stick in 3 liters of water. Bring to a boil, then reduce heat and simmer for 30 to 60 minutes. Refrigerate and consume over 3 days. The dates provide vitamin C and saponins that synergize with Shogol's immune-modulating activity, and cinnamon contributes its own nitrogen monofluoride kappa B inhibitory compounds and blood glucose stabilization. The third recipe integrates dried ginger into everyday cooking. Add a 1/4 teaspoon of dried ginger powder to any soup, stew, or broth-based dish during cooking. Combined with garlic, miso, tofu, and dark leafy greens, this creates a comprehensive anti-inflammatory meal from ordinary pantry staples. For your 7-day practice plan on days 1 and 2, purchase dried ginger powder or dried ginger slices and replace 1 daily beverage with the ginger turmeric honey tea. On days 3 and 4, add a 1/4 teaspoon of dried ginger powder to morning soup or eggs, and begin brewing the date tonic for evening use. On days 5 and 6, prepare all 3 recipes in sequence, and consciously pair dried ginger with turmeric and black pepper in at least 1 meal daily. From day 7 onward, maintain this combination at least 5 days per week. And note changes in joint comfort, digestive function, and energy levels after 30 days. Critical safety warnings must not be overlooked. Dried ginger inhibits platelet aggregation. Anyone taking warfarin, aspirin, or other anticoagulant or antiplatelet medications must consult their physician before adding meaningful amounts of dried ginger, as bleeding risk may increase. Pregnant women should limit daily ginger intake to no more than 1 gram, and must consult their obstetrician, as higher amounts may stimulate uterine contractions. People with gallstones should exercise caution, as ginger stimulates bile secretion and may provoke pain. Those with sensitive stomachs should start with small amounts and gradually increase, as ginger on an empty stomach can cause discomfort for some individuals. The evidence-based safe daily dose for dried ginger is 1 to 3 grams. Exceeding 4 grams daily may cause heartburn or gastrointestinal irritation. Finally, always discard any ginger fresh or dried that shows signs of mold or rot, as damaged. Ginger can produce safrole, a toxic compound that is not eliminated by drying or cooking. 5,000 years ago, healers across Asia reached into a basket of dried ginger before reaching for the fresh root when illness demanded more than ordinary intervention. Today, we understand precisely why. Shogal, born from the transformation of gingerol by heat and time, is one of nature's most sophisticated multi-target anti-inflammatory molecules. Your spice cabinet may already hold it. The question is whether you choose to use it with the scientific intention that the evidence now demands.